Welcome to the Lookout Cookout, celebrating the history, heritage, people, and places of the Cape Lookout area of North Carolina.
This episode of the Lookout Cookout is brought to you by Zion Consulting, offering services in graphic and website design, software development, and business consulting. Want to take your business to the next level? Visit zioncg.com and let Zion Consulting go the extra mile for you. Howdy, guys. Welcome back once again. This is the most ginger-fied host of the Lookout Cook. I don't know where I was going with that. It's Opie. Hey, guys.
I'm Levi. I'm not a ginger, mostly because I'm bald, but also because I'm not ginger.
You're not a ginger from a lack of trying.
Yeah, that's very
Is that
true.
what we're trying to say?
I mean, I'm Irish. That's like half ginger just by default.
Okay, sure. I won't
why
argue. Anybody listening that has a problem with that is, if it means that much to them, they will definitely seek us out to correct that. But I'll go with it because I'm laid back like that, man.
Well, in case you haven't figured it out, Opie and I are super dumb and super excited about everything.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go with that as well.
Which I think they go hand in hand. Because we don't know a lot of things about various topics, we're just really excited to learn.
I usually say I'm purposely naive, which is just a way more acceptable, politically correct version of what you said.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Look, Opie, I'm sure you're very smart in a bunch of
Depends
different
what we're
topics.
talking about.
Well, that's the thing. You are very artistic. In case people don't know, you designed our Lookout Cookout, our banner that's behind you. That's like silhouetting
That everybody
you right
that's
now.
listening to this can see right now. Actually, if depending on how you're listening to it, you probably had to click on a version of it.
You saw it. It's our Twitter or Twitter icon. It's on the site. If there's any kind of logo or artwork or anything related to Lookout Cookout, you probably did it.
Usually.
Yeah, and so you're very artistically inclined. I'm not. I cannot draw. I like to think I'm reasonable intelligence, but that could be because I'm dumb enough that I just don't know.
We've talked about this many times. I mean, you're very articulate.
Yeah, and we've talked about it too.
You can draw facts just out of nowhere. We've talked about that before.
I have so much of my brain is taken up with just useless information.
I don't know how you do it. I can't remember what I had for breakfast, and you can.
Oh, I can't either because that would somehow
best batting average in 1987 for the California Angels.
If I had it, I think we would just have to quit the podcast if I knew that statistic just off the top of my head. Oh my god!
We should have prearranged. It's all pre-recorded. We could have had some kind of fact laid out, and
I can tell you
would sound like a genius to the listeners, and they would have no idea that we worked it out.
I can tell you all the details of the Pine Tar game with George Brett that took place in 1987. I want to say.
I hope some of our listeners are old enough to even remember who George Brett is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how much longer he played after that. All right, this is unrelated. I think we should just start like an auxiliary podcast, like we should do a Lookout Cookout after hours and do
How would that work?
We'd have to stay after 5 o'clock, but
okay.
That's a whole thing. But I think really we should like come in a little behind the scenes of this. We should come in like on the weekends and record like once a month podcast of just us. That's tag it explicit and just talk about the most random stuff.
Do everything that we do off air, anyways.
Yeah, do everything that we do on air that gets cut out by our editor, which she's threatened to do, like an outtakes episode of us.
And we're if we haven't have an official count, but we're up there. I think we might be in double digits. For this point.
By this point, this is part 2 of the Everest episode. So by this point, we should almost definitely be in double digits if we weren't already from part 1. Also, if you're stumbling on this episode by some sheer happenstance and you haven't listened to part 1 of the Everest episode, please go back to the previous episode and listen to that, because otherwise you will be very confused.
You might be very lost about what's going on. Although it'd probably still be just as enjoyable, I can imagine.
Well, that's the thing. All the stories will kind of still come out, and you'll still get enjoyment out of them. But I think
it'll make more sense.
Need a little bit of frame of reference.
For those that maybe don't remember, it's been a minute since you heard the first episode. If you're skipping around too, we as Levi just mentioned, we are speaking with Dan and Kelly.
Were you going to throw them together?
Like
Benifer?
I almost did. I don't think they would appreciate that, but it almost slipped out. Thanks for calling me out.
Yeah, no problem. You smoothly transitioned over it, but I had to bring it back.
As we mentioned, you're the articulate one of the two. I'm just the dumb painter, drawer guy. Drawer, that is a word, right?
Yeah, why not?
So on this episode, it is the second installment of our interview with Dan and Kelly from Everest Yacht Charters.
.com. And this will be the conclusion. It will not be more than 2 parts. This will be the end of the interview. And it's actually kind of great because we're cutting this interview in half. The intro of it will be pretty similar to the intro of the first one, as we just kind of start, not mid-conversation, but we were just talking, and then we were like, oh, hey, we should probably be recording this.
It was probably, thus far in the history of our episodes, was the more straightforward talking shop type of episode that we've had so far. Like I mentioned, I think before in other episodes, that we kind of have a loose, generalized structure normally when we sit down to talk with people.
We have a loose script of topics.
Yeah, there's certain things that they want to talk about that we're going to want to talk about, questions that maybe we want to ask, and maybe questions that they're tired of answering everywhere that they go, that they want us to cover, just to try and
or questions from listeners, like because we usually put out a few weeks ahead of time or a week ahead of time or whatever. We put out like, oh, hey, we're talking to these people coming up.
We try to give everybody a heads up before we actually talk about them, so they can get their input on what they want to know about, what they're curious about, maybe what they've heard or don't already know, factual versus just hearsay.
Yeah, clearing up any confusion.
So we tried to cover everything, but it was kind of fortunate with them. They're this laid back attitude like we are, where we just sat down and started talking shop and got all these wonderful stories about where they've come from and things that they've done throughout their life. And it's a little looser than usual, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's a change of pace.
Or a thing. It's a little different than we normally do. And I enjoyed it, and I'm sure the listeners, you guys are checking it out. If you've already, unless you skipped ahead and cheated.
Yeah. How dare you skip over
people.
us.
Unless you cheated and come ahead to the second episode, you already kind of know the type of people they are and the stories they've got to tell, so it does nothing but get better from here. So we appreciate you guys tuning back in, and if you this is your first time tuning in, stop right now.
Go back. Any other episode you can jump in, but we started this series, this whole podcast with a 2-parter with Captain Mark. But yeah, go back. At least go back 1 episode. If you're just starting, and we would prefer you start from the beginning, but you don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want. It's a free country. But just go back 1 episode. Go to Everest Part 1 from last week or whenever you're listening to this, and start from there. It's fascinating stuff. But definitely check out their website. Like we talked about before, EverestYachtCharters.com. It has a bunch of pictures and video of the boat. And
they've got a really well put together site, and it's hard to do a situation such as their business as well as the boat itself any kind of justice, and I think the website does a pretty good job of that. So it gets you guys a little more familiar than just what you're hearing through with these conversations that we actually had with those guys. So
and also people that are watching the video form of this on either YouTube or Vimeo or on our site itself, we'll be throwing up some slides of the boat, images of the boat.
Yeah, for anybody that's just listening to us on a podcast or anything of that nature, if sometimes you're in a situation where you're not able to watch the video that accompanies our episodes, sometimes it's pretty neat to check it out as well, like from a desktop or when you're in a position where you're able to look at your device, because we have a slideshow that does go along with it. It has a lot of pictures and videos sometimes that
supplements the podcast.
Exactly, yeah. If you're just sitting in your car listening to them from work, or for example, you're not going to be able to do it. But when you have the opportunity to sit down and check out the video that accompanies each episode, it's worth cruising through that, making sure you see all the stuff that goes along with it.
You get to see all the slides and stuff that you work very hard on to create.
Yeah, you got to check it out. Support me.
Yeah, support local business.
Try to get rid of me otherwise.
They just 1 foot out the door at all times. Opie, where are those slides?
Anyway.
All right, guys.
I can't top that.
No, it's fine. Guys, stick with us for part 2 with Dan and Kelly from Everest Yacht coming up later in the episode. We're going to throw it to a break real quick, and when we come back, we're going to cook things with fire until they're edible.
Fire! Yeah! Stick around.
This episode of the Lookout Cookout is brought to you by Above It All Studios, covering all of your video recording and photography needs, offering studio portraits, on-location shooting, HD aerial drone videography, and much more. Book them for your next family reunion when everyone's together. Schedule an engagement photo shoot to capture that special moment forever. Visit AboveItAllStudios.com for more details. All right, welcome back, guys. In case you forgot in the 30 seconds since we last talked, I'm Levi. That's Opie over there.
Over here.
Yeah. If you're listening in headphones, it probably one of us is on the left, one of us is on the right. So it's like we're just on either side of your head, just talking into your ears.
Let me paint the picture just for anybody who doesn't understand. Is Levi's microphone and himself is on one end of the table, and I'm at the other.
And we used long arms, like microphone arms, so we're standing while we're doing that. We're not
Right.
sitting like at a desk.
And when you were mentioning that though about like the in stereo,
right?
Like I just wanted to run over to your microphone and shout some whatever into
some
it,
nonsense.
and then come back to mine
Yeah.
and. No, it's a little more insight into my mind than anybody probably wants. But,
I mean, if they're going to listen to this podcast, they're going to get it whether they like it or not.
yeah, force feed it to them.
Yeah.
Speaking of feed,
segue.
yeah,
It took me a second to get to it because it's on the other side of the desk. It's on Opie's side.
I hogged the bell.
You do, because usually you're the one to use it, but we try to limit it to like one or two uses.
So
an
easy
episode.
to go overboard.
It really is. It's like if we had a soundboard, it's great in theory, but it's just all we'd
Working
be
with
doing.
minimal.
Yeah,
That's literally all we've got.
that's all. It's a real bell too. We should put a picture on the Instagram of our bell.
The honorary sixth man of our team.
Yeah. All right. We've ruined the segue of talking about feeding. I don't even remember what the segue
I
was.
was so good with that too. I'm not good with
segues.
and
So basically, this is kind of a continuation of last episode. Our whole idea last time was try and come up with something that does our grill segment, and also we try to relate it to the guest of the episode. And so last time I think we did the grilled crab legs for part one of this, because crab legs are a bit fancier but still kind of down home and local thing, obviously seafood. So you did that, so I was trying to play off of it.
tell me what I do.
You'll tell me what to do. So I was trying to play off it a little bit, and so I was just trying to think like what is good on the grill that you don't always get on the grill. And I was thinking like, especially around here, it's a big problem. Not a problem, but it's a big thing, and I think it might be a problem. Seafood is like almost always just breaded and deep fried, which is fine. Fried shrimp is
delicious.
great. Yeah. But
I mean, really,
there's a better way to do it. So
yeah.
I was going through that list in my head, and I was thinking calamari. Are you a fan of calamari, Opie?
gross. No, I'm just kidding. I love calamari.
It's really good, and
There's
usually
really not a whole lot of seafood I don't enjoy. I think about it.
I'm the same way. Unless
Fried or otherwise, I don't got sushi. Like it.
As long as it's for me, I'm kind of
Doesn't have to be cooked. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. Just pull it out of the ocean, throw it in my mouth. But generally, I have a simple palate. So like, if stuff has like a lot of like random sauces and seasonings and stuff, I'm usually not into it. But yeah, you throw just like a simple fillet of fish on a grill, or throw some
You're
shrimp.
more a purist in the sense that you like it. I like right out of the water, and you don't need a whole lot of extra.
I like
anything.
the way that animal tastes. Like I'm the same way with like
That
steak
sounds
or
so barbaric.
Yeah,
and
it
manly.
sounds terrifying. I'm a manly man. In case you haven't seen from my pictures, I have a beard, guys. You please love me.
I have a beard.
You do. It's just
Very gingery.
yeah. I was gonna say it's harder to see because it's ginger, but it's ginger and you're freckled, and so like it's just red. Just
Why are you picking on pale
I'm just
redhead
kidding.
people?
You also are tall and thin, so you got that going for you.
I'll take it. It's the hand I was dealt.
So we decided calamari almost exclusively. If you see calamari on a menu, it's going to be fried.
Yeah, I can't think of too many instances where it's usually not.
Yeah, it's going to be cut into rings, deep fried, breaded and deep fried. It comes out in a basket, in a paper basket. It's delicious. But I think it can be better. So I did some Googling.
Is that in the Webster's Dictionary?
I think it is.
It should be if it's not. But
I
anyways,
think Google as a verb is, if it's not, it absolutely should be, and we should petition for it. But I did some Googling, just trying to find some grilled calamari, grilled squid, whatever you want to call it.
I'm liking where this is going already.
Yeah, and I came up with some interesting results. There's quite a few variations out there. Like most grilled fish recipes, the big difference is going to be in how you marinate it or season it, if you marinate or season it, and then also what it goes on at the end, basically. If it's just going to go on a plate with some sides, or you throw it.
Versus as an appetizer, or versus like
maybe you cut it up and put it in a
calamari
salad.
burger or some sort, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Or, you cut it into strips and toss it with some potatoes or something like that, which I think actually this recipe does. In the grand Cookout tradition, I have a recipe that is my starting point, and we're just going to kind of wing it from there. So in this recipe, which the link will be on the lookoutcookout.com for the posting for this episode, this recipe calls for a marinade, about a 2-hour marinade. It consists of, and all the measurements and stuff you can find in the link on this episode. But the marinade itself consists of olive oil, lemon juice, oregano, garlic, salt, and red pepper flake. Now, I know red pepper flake, some people don't like because they think maybe it's a little bit uneven in its kind of flavor. You get a single flake and that like ruins everything.
Right.
So you can use that if you want. If you want some spice, but maybe want a little bit finer, use some like cayenne powder or something like that. But so that is the marinade for that. So you combine all that in the appropriate measurements. You throw in your squid bodies, like the tubes and the tentacles if you want to use those. I like using both because I like the texture difference of the two. Right. And you just toss it around the coat and let it marinate for a couple hours. Squid is a little bit tougher than fish.
It's not as porous as your typical seafood or fish type scenario.
So it can stand up to a longer marinade. And also it'll help with any toughness, which a lot of the toughness, people have had calamari in the past at restaurants and didn't like it, a lot of the toughness comes from overcooking. So if you cook it right, it's not tough and it's delicious.
Yeah, I've heard that all the time where people usually a lot of times the reason they don't like it is because it's too rubbery, quote unquote.
But that just means somebody fried it too much.
Yeah, it's too long.
Yeah. It's an easy thing it's just like shrimp. It's an easy thing to overcook, but if it's cooked right, it's delicious. So basically you just need to do it in whatever marinade that you're going to do. Throw it in the fridge for a couple hours. Depending on how you have it marinating, if it's in a bowl or whatever, you may need to kind of toss it a couple times while it's there so it marinates evenly. But once you've got it good to go and it's marinated, take it out to your grill. If you got a gas grill, throw it on high heat. If you're doing charcoal, throw a ton of charcoal down. Right. Not like an entire bag. Don't go crazy with it.
So it's a little higher heat than our typical seafood dishes.
Yeah, because normally seafood
usually low heat. And not a long.
Because it doesn't take a whole lot, and this doesn't take a whole lot either. But a lot of what you want, the reason for the high heat is, and just from my experience from talking to like chef friends and stuff, the reason you want the high heat is you get that kind of, it doesn't take a long time to cook, but with the high heat you get that char on the outside. Char is always a good thing.
That's good. I'm with you on that one.
But there's also a fine line between charred and burnt, so you have to be careful with that. But yeah, preheat the grill, high heat, gas makes that very easy. Just turn the knob to 9 or whatever the highest number is.
Turn it to 11.
Turn it to
Spinal
11.
Tap.
If Spinal Tap makes a gas grill, it would go to 11. And then you basically just want to throw the tubes and tentacles whole. You're not going to cut them into strips at this point, but you will kind of cut the tube kind of long way so you can roll it out into one piece, if that makes sense.
Gives a nice even cooking.
But then you just throw them on the grill. You're looking for that little bit of char, but you're basically just looking for them to go solid because by default they're a little bit kind of translucent. You can see through them a little bit. So you want them to go solid, get a little bit of kind of that golden brown, some char on it. It's probably only going to take a couple of minutes, probably 2-3 minutes, and you can flip them.
Don't throw them on there and walk away. You're going to stay pretty close by.
Literally, in the time it takes you probably, depending on how many you're cooking, the time it takes you to get the first one on, that first one will probably be done by the time you get the last piece on to the grill. So, only 2, 3, 4 minutes maybe, depending on the size and everything. But once you're done with that, pull them off, bring them in, let them cool enough so you can handle them, cut them into strips. And the recipe that I'm working off of actually tells you to dice up some potatoes, boil some potatoes, and basically season the potatoes with whatever, and then throw the calamari strips on that, and then toss them together, which that sounds pretty good.
We do a lot of dishes like that at my house. I'll vouch for that one when you kind of, instead of having individual servings of whatever your dishes are, it's kind of all more just...
It's like family style. Yeah, it's like just a big bowl of whatever it is, and then you just kind of scoop out what you want.
Spoonful upon spoonful, mouth-watery goodness.
In my head, the potatoes I'm imagining are like those new potatoes, like those red skin potatoes that you leave the skin on.
My mind, my friend.
You dice them up, half or quarter them, boil them, just a little salted water, pour them, drain them, put them in a bowl. Throw those strips of grilled calamari in it.
Depending on your size, too, I was thinking as you were explaining all this, I know sometimes there's bigger than others, but maybe you would even skewer some of those, just so that way you don't lose them in the grill. I know that's
definitely a possibility.
Worry of mine. Just thinking about the times I've dealt with calamari in the past is at least the rings, anyways. you don't want to lose
Yeah.
any of them.
And they can be slippery too. So if you wanted to kind of like weave them onto a skewer, almost like do an S shape on the skewer with them and hold them that way, that's definitely a possibility.
Cue a fancy graphic.
Yeah.
for those that are listening
of origami calamari. But yeah, I haven't personally. I've had grilled calamari in the past. I think a few restaurants, but I haven't personally done this recipe. But I think I'm going to sometime soon because it sounds pretty delicious.
Summertime. You live here on the coast, obviously. Look out, Cookout for those that maybe aren't in our listening area.
Yeah.
You're listening on another part of the country. Yeah, it's definitely in season. It's summertime, and it sounds like a good thing to be out inside and grilling up anyways.
Yeah, if you need an easy excuse to get out on the grill, this is definitely a good one. And we've had some gorgeous weather. It was pretty hot a few days ago, but it's kind of mellowed out now. We've had kind of in the high 70s, low 80s, and it's just been.
I'm ready. It's short weather.
Yeah, it's shorts and t-shirt weather, grill weather, beach weather. I'm happy to see all of that. I'm a winter person personally, but I'm happy to see this weather roll in. I'm a winter person because I like getting to winter after the summer. If it was winter all the time,
reward at the end of summer.
Yeah, exactly. And in the summer, or at least the start of summer, is the reward for making it through the winter. Not that we have the harshest winter around here.
Oh, it's so terrible around here. How many millimeters of snow did we get?
Of snow chance do we get? But yeah, guys, definitely go check that out if you're cooking for your family. Maybe if they have a little bit more of an adventurous palate and you want to get them to try something new. Because squid really, it's kind of like tofu in a way in that it basically tastes like what you're marinating it in. So if you do a strong marinade, it's just going to taste like that. So you can kind of get your kids to try something new, maybe under the guise of something else.
Tell them it's just a different kind of onion ring.
Yeah, exactly. Just cut it down.
I just told everybody to lie to their children. That's so wrong.
No,
I'm sorry.
It's creative.
Influencing.
There you
Creative influencing. That's the way to do it. You're going to expand your children's palate. You know what? Just tell them what it is. And
don't lie to them.
Don't.
I mean,
and please don't write into me. I have children too. I don't lie to them.
You can do whatever you want with your kids. As far as tell them whatever stories you want. We're not going to judge you. But
mini donuts.
Yeah,
we don't care.
do mini donuts.
What else is around that I can compare them to? Anyways,
but yeah, guys, definitely go check this out. We're gonna throw it to a break real quick. When we come back, we're gonna throw it to part 2, the grand finale of the Everest podcast. Stick around.
Today's episode of the Lookout Cookout is brought to you by Lookout Adventures. If you're looking for a less crowded fishing excursion, if you want to hop from one of the necks to the Outer Banks' most beautiful barrier islands, stay on the boat for a personalized dolphin watch, or maybe just you want to book a private sunset cruise for you and that special someone, let Lookout Adventures be your guide. With many full and half-day options to choose from, there's an adventure waiting for everyone. For pricing, gift certificates, and more information, visit lookoutadventures.com.
So, you climbed Everest, and then you bought a boat.
That kind of leads me into did the boat come Everest? Did it come before the mountain trip?
After I climbed him out in 2004, and I probably got the boat 2007.
He's a true boater. He's never owned a house. So,
really?
So after he climbed, essentially, he had to have a house.
Right.
So there's a couple things he needed. He needed a house.
Yeah.
And he also wanted to start a charter business.
So why not combine them?
Yeah. So, and there's absolutely no way he would tie himself to just one locale. He likes to be able to move. So you kill two birds with one stone by, it's a good floating condo, but the overhead on that thing is tremendous.
Oh, sure.
So there's two reasons we wanted to start the business, because he wanted a charter business. Mm-hmm. And I came along and he said he wanted a charter business, and I'm like, whoa, okay, I know nothing about boats, but we'll do this.
Let's do this.
And so yeah, he needed a house, but he also wanted to run a charter business. And then, as I think, I don't know, is it safe to say that maybe we underestimated the overhead that it takes to keep something like that going, and so then even more push to have to run a business.
Right.
So.
Just so I know we had it written down. I just wanted to kind of verify it. It's an 80-foot San Lorenzo yacht. Well, what's the year of it?
87.
Gotcha. And I know, I was on it a few weeks ago taking pictures and things like that. And I know y'all have done a lot of work to it as far as remodeling and everything. So, I mean, what kind of shape was it in when you got it versus where it's at now? I mean, have you put a lot? I imagine you put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we should have taken pictures along the way. I've kind of forgotten now how
oh my God it was.
Yeah.
Right.
when I first met him, well, see, I mean, I grew up in central Indiana on a farm, and I never left the state of Indiana until I was 23.
About as far from boats in
Yeah,
the water
yeah,
as you could
yeah,
get.
and never traveled. I mean, like
Right.
I said, I didn't leave the state until I was 23, and that's because, I mean, who's going to feed the livestock?
Right.
You know, you don't just hire someone. You don't hire a pet sitter to come in and feed the livestock.
Right.
So when I went to grad school and then found a full-time job close by and then accidentally found Beaufort and then accidentally found him, I literally, my first question when I saw it from the dock was, is this what you call a yacht? You know, so, and then he gave me the tour and, you know, told me he wanted to be a charter business, and he and I are very opposites in personality, which works well. I jump in head first without even looking.
Right.
And he's
you've
far,
already covered, very prepared, and
he's far more calculated.
Right.
And so he says he wants to run a charter business, and I'm still not even knowing that this thing is actually what you call officially a yacht.
Right.
I'm like, okay, we'll do it. When do you want to start? Tomorrow? You know?
You already put up flyers there.
You know, I'm already
Yeah,
putting
yeah,
flyers
yeah,
up,
yeah.
and he's like, wait a minute, no, you know, we got some stuff to do. So it's 1987, and fortunately, with it being an Italian-built boat, I think the Italians do a great job of keeping a very modern line. But the inside was very 80s. Everything was brass. The sinks were that bisque color brass fixtures.
Even somebody like yourself, as unfamiliar as you were with it, you could tell that it was dated.
Yeah, it was very dated, and it was back when, like, to have linoleum floors was in style.
yeah, that was
and,
that was the cool thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, you know, it's like, when was this? 2011. This isn't so cool anymore, you know? And so we've little things like, you know, our light fixtures. We have 120 light fixtures.
Wow.
We changed them all from brass to chrome. We changed all of our door handles. You know, we have five rooms, so that means we have 5 heads or toilets for those that don't know.
The
so we have,
landlubbers.
you know, we have 5 bedrooms, we have 5 toilets, we have multiple of many. So we went through and unbrassed everything and went to chrome and did new tile floors, new granite sinks, new sink tops. I mean, we've done huge amounts of updating.
It's a brand new boat at this point.
At this point, it is a brand new boat. The cool thing is a lot of the wood, the veneer work on the inside's original, and it's still in great condition.
Yeah,
And,
it looks great. It doesn't look like it's a 28-year-old.
Well, yeah.
boat
Well,
at this point.
thank you. Yeah.
But wasn't, I mean, well, you've been on board, but I mean, 80s mirrors on the ceiling. But
Yeah.
Wasn't your first
I'm
thought?
thinking
My
like
first
Miami
thought.
Vice.
Yeah, that's immediately what I thought.
It looks like there should be a stripper pole right there in the main
It does.
salon.
It does.
So-
There's room
yeah,
for it.
the
there should
stripper
be.
pole in the middle, and then
Yeah.
probably like a
They
Colombian
got exercise
coke
classes.
dealer.
It's innocent.
You know, when I got the boat, so it's got like 6 safes on board, and one of them is a combination in the master stateroom, and I didn't. It was locked,
Right.
and I didn't have the combination. So one day there were 3 dial. I forgot how many different. I mean, there are like 4,000 different things. So
Yeah.
One day, I got like a 6-pack of beer and sat in. It's in like the closet.
Right.
And I went. No.
Oh my God.
111,
3 hours, 'cause I was
111.
like, this is full of cash and guns and cocaine. It's like I
opening
was out of money at the time, and I was like, there's got to be something in here worth finding.
Right.
It's like
So I
opening
sat there.
Capone's vault.
Yeah. So I went, but I opened it up, nothing in there.
Nothing?
So I was like,
Disappointing.
it was.
Oh, you're funny.
You got a
yeah,
story out of that.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, well, that's
Oh my goodness.
a stack of cash and a couple of keys.
Yeah.
That would have got.
Which you would have turned into the proper
Sure.
authorities.
Another
And-
6-pack, at least something in there. Oh man.
That
So
was-
in Indiana
Yeah.
for you?
Yeah.
Rewind a little bit. How did you get out this way?
So, as I was saying, I grew up on a farm in north central Indiana with corn and soybeans all
Right.
the way around,
And livestock.
you know. And I had originally wanted to be a veterinarian, so I went to school at Ball State, and my undergrad was in chemistry, which is very closely aligned with what you need to get into vet school.
Makes sense.
And I got into vet school, and long story short, I chickened out and I didn't go. And so then I was ashamed of myself and thought that I needed to run away from home. Again, the young thinking that you have when you're 22 years old of, you know, what am I doing? Where am I supposed to be going?
Everything's ruined.
Yeah, everything's ruined. I didn't do, you know, nobody gets into vet school the first time they apply, and I did, and then I didn't go, and it was like, what have I done? So I'm very close with my family, but in my young 22-year-old mind, I was like, you can't stop here. But oh my God, you've ashamed your mother. And so I ran away to grad school in Wilmington. So
At UNCW?
Yeah, UNCW. And got my master's in chemistry. And then I discovered warmer weather, and I discovered the ocean.
Yeah.
So
there's a little bit of it down there.
Yeah, so I discovered some of that, and I said, well, this is nice. There's no snow here, you know, and there's lots of boats. And, I mean, we had lakes and ponds and stuff like that. So, you know, I spent my time as a kid on a 16-foot fishing ski, so I knew how fun the water was.
Right.
There's an idea there, at least.
Yeah, you got the kernel in your head.
And I could drive a John boat, you know. I mean, that was the extent of my boating, and I could really do some rowing, but that was about it. So then from grad school, as I discovered the warmer weather and the water, I found a full-time job at the community college in Morehead City. And I didn't want to live in the same town that I worked in. I just wanted that delineation. So I looked at the map, and when you look at the map around here, there's one option.
Yeah.
And that's Beaufort.
Yep.
So not knowing Beaufort, I drive over here, and on the way over, of course, you're driving over the two bridges, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is where I'm going.
Yeah.
So you were hooked.
And I'm,
the first
I
drive.
was hooked.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't even have a place to live, and I was hooked. And so I stayed. And
when was this? Like when did you come get the job in?
2009.
Gotcha. Okay, so you've been here a few years now.
Yeah. 2009. I finished grad school in 2007, and I got the full-time job in 2009.
Gotcha.
And a student of mine, very thankful to her, saw that I was a little. It's interesting how, and we talk about this, how I've done a huge shift in the last 4 years, because growing up on a farm lends you to be somewhat reserved,
sure,
and maybe even a little bit introvertish, you know. Right. And she saw that, and for whatever reason, she was like, "Come on, let's go out. Let's have some fun." And I'm like, "Well, you're a student. I can't do that." I'm like, "We have to wait until final grades are turned in, and then we can hang out."
Right.
You know. So after final grades
failed,
were turned in,
get out.
Yeah. So after final grades were turned in, we went and we hung out, and I met some people that night, and then somebody said, well, hey, there's a party on a yacht the following day. Do you want to go? And I'm like, yeah.
It's a good way to start.
And so...
Getting that small town local
in,
hospitality, like, hey, come hang out.
But like in a 2-year period from graduating to moving here, something happened, and introverted Kelly wasn't so introverted anymore. And so I go to this party. I don't know a soul, other than this one person that I've known for 24 hours. And... My friend Joanne was there. She's the one that drugged me out into the real world.
Right.
And I go on board, and that's where I stop, and I'm like, is this what you call a yacht? And they're like, yeah. And so I meet him. He's on board. He's pacing the floors. He's wearing out the carpet. He's chewing his fingernails. And I'm like, I shake his hand, and I'm like, what's wrong? Is there something I can do for you? And he's like, I've got this wedding reception coming on board, and I've never done anything like this before, and I don't know what to do.
Very flattering impression.
And I said, yeah, this is our first hello. And I said, well, what do you want me to do? And he says, I just want you to take over. I'm going downstairs. And he runs away. And so there's people coming on board, all, catering all kinds of food and stuff like that. And so I don't know what happened to me. There just must have been a switch that flipped. I immediately start taking charge, and I'm not introverted anymore. And I'm like, well, this is going to go here and this is going to go there. I've been on the boat for 5 minutes.
Right.
And looking back on it, it's very funny how when we first met, we in some sense did run a mini little charter that day,
right.
Where I took over, and again, probably that jumping in head first without looking like I do.
Yeah.
And so from there, that's when he said, well, I got to know him, and I was like, well, I think I'll take this one. I like this guy better. He doesn't have such a little John boat.
So the party you were invited to, was that the wedding reception party?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
It was.
I was under the impression that this is going to be the next day, and you guys are having a little get together beforehand.
I showed up
at the event.
At the event, not knowing a soul, and I'm taking over, and everybody is looking at me like, "Who's this chick on our friend's boat?"
And then Dan dumps it in your lap that you
and
could
he
take
dumps it in my lap, and he runs off and goes down below, and everybody is like, "Where's Dan? And who's running the boat right now?"
And you're like,
And so it's funny how it works out that essentially what we did the first day we met is what we're doing now.
Right.
So he comes in and so of course, we get to know each other and we start dating, and he's like, well, my goal, the reason I bought this thing is because I want to run a charter business. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. Sign me up.
So the charter, that wasn't a reality at that point.
No, not at all.
You had the boat.
Had the boat.
And the reception was like one of the first events you had done?
It wasn't even. They were friends of ours.
It was a friend.
Kind
so
of
it wasn't
it
even.
was just favor almost.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a favor. It wasn't.
They were all
even,
friends of ours, so it's just like, let's have the party on the boat.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
it's here.
it wasn't even a charter. It was just a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
Going along. But it's funny looking in hindsight how.
That's like the nascent stages of it.
Yeah, and so that was back in the still very brass-looking state of the boat, and the not-so-cool laminate flooring of the boat, and the not everything functioning as it should stages. And so then he says, well, I want to run a charter boat. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. Still not really knowing anything, but I'm going to do it. And so the original plan was to go down to the British Virgin Islands. So I went down there, and
by yourself?
I did. I went down there by myself. So this was when I was 29. Kelly's big first adventure out of the country by herself.
No longer introverted.
So no longer introverted. Something happened. I don't know what happened, and so I went down there and scouted out some areas and hooked up with a broker, and actually I was offered a full-time job as the chemistry professor for the community college on Tortola. So that was going to work out perfect. And we were going to go, again, me not knowing how much work had to be done to the boat.
Right.
And we listed it with a broker, and it was very successful right off the bat. And then we kind of
Well, successful in that we had the bookings.
Right. Successful in that we had the bookings right off the bat. And then he reined me back in, and he was like, hey, thanks for doing the legwork. It's good to see that we will be able to do this in the BVI, but we got a lot of work to do. So that's when I started learning,
there's other things to do.
This isn't just turning the key and going to the BVI. And that's when I learned there's lots of things to do. So what we decided to do, which was the better, more calculated approach that he comes up with, is
the business plan.
Let's stay here and do something a little smaller scale than the BVI, so that we can get prepared and so we can learn what are we supposed to be doing,
Almost like testing waters.
Exactly. We're testing the waters. So let's see what kind of systems we need. Let's iron all of the kinks out. And let's be here in the United States where, the hardware store is 5 minutes away, because when you're in the BVI, the hardware store is a plane fly away.
Right.
So,
little less convenient.
Yeah, so let's do it here where, if something breaks or something needs remodeled, we're here, we can do it. And so I think in hindsight, that has worked out so much better.
Yeah.
And we've been able just over the last couple of years to work on it. And he's going back to that, me jumping in and him being very reserved. We'd been working on it. And I'm like, all right, when are we going to put this thing? When are we going to list this thing? Mm-hmm. So finally I was like, well, I see what I'm going to have to do. So we listed it. Somebody called. I booked the boat. And I said, buddy, you got 6 weeks to get this thing ready. And in 6 weeks, down to the hour of our guests arriving, we got it ready.
Nice.
And awesome. But there's still upgrades that we make. There's always, it's a boat.
And anybody I've ever spoke to or I know that has any kind of boat, it's always a work in progress. I mean, you can't really ever put like a
it's never
done and never touch it again.
There's never a done stamp. But
and especially as much as it's being used, if you are kind of renting it out in a charter, there's constantly people going in and out, so there's going to be a constant maintenance that's going to need to happen.
And people don't, the way I explained it once, because even my mom's been on the boat, of course. people don't totally understand all of the systems. And I said, imagine trying to plug your house into an extension cord and a garden hose and expect it to run flawlessly.
Right.
You know, I mean, because it's essentially what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, and what people don't understand, there's things like, how does our air conditioner work? You know, it has to suck up seawater and do all kinds of crazy things to make it work. The toilets, they're not $125 toilet from Lowe's that just flushes and there's nothing to it. Our toilets have motors and grinders and electricity, and
Right.
and one toilet's $1,500, and we have 5 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just one example, and so there's a tremendous amount of upkeep and just overhead. And now, being in the business end of it now, there's just, you wouldn't think of things wear and tear, and you've got, it's not just us living on there anymore.
Yeah.
You know, you've got clear from maintaining the systems to the cleaning bill every month to the fuel bill, which this thing is.
I can imagine it takes a little bit to
Not exactly a hybrid.
power a big boat.
It's not the most fuel.
Do you feel almost at an advantage being that small town girl who grew up on a farm and this all being so fresh, versus if you had grown up your whole life and almost
You grew up around
second
it.
nature?
Yeah, because I think had I grown up around this and really known what it was going to take to get this going,
maybe you wouldn't have gotten involved.
You wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
So that naivety,
Yeah.
I think, was really huge for me. That not knowing and that personality of saying, "Oh, let's just do it."
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, he's very calculated, and it's served him so well in so many areas of his life. And me having my personality serves me well, but I think it balances out very well.
Oh, yeah.
Between the two of you, it seems like you get all your bases covered.
Yeah.
Because he's so calculated sometimes that he won't pull the trigger and do it.
Right.
But I'm so over the top that Lord knows what I'd get myself into.
Right.
If I didn't have him
And I
to
can
rein me
completely
back
relate,
in.
with situations like that, because I'll plan everything to the point where, okay, this isn't ready or that's not ready, and I'm the same way. I don't want to pull the trigger on something.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
And
really
sometimes
like
you need somebody.
you're
Yeah,
there
push it,
just kind of constantly pulling the trigger, and then he's just there to kind of load the gun when it's time.
Yes, that's exactly what's going on. You know, I'm always firing, whether I got something in there to fire with or not. I'm always... And so over the course, we were just talking about it, driving down the road the other day, and I was like, wow, hasn't introverted little old Kelly come quite a long way? Because now I obviously have no problem standing here talking to you like this. I get up in front of students and yak all day long. I have no problem with
Guests and things like
guests and public speaking and being in front of people. And I look back and I'm like, wow, I never would have thought, what I was doing when I was 15
Yeah.
to what I'm doing now is totally different.
You never know how things are going to
You
run its
don't,
course.
and I feel very fortunate,
Yeah.
I mean, he's been around boats forever, but I feel very fortunate to be able to do something like this and to be able to, and we like making people smile, as cheesy as it sounds. Somebody asked him once, "What's your favorite part of this?" And it really is true. He likes to see people smile.
Yeah.
And that's it. And
It's not always to anybody's advantage, or what am I trying to say? You're not always able with your work to take something that you enjoy so much and bring that joy to everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with this kind of situation,
To see a kid see a dolphin. I mean, we take it for granted a little bit, but that dolphin comes up. It is pretty neat.
Yeah.
To
Or
share
the
that with
ponies,
people. The
you know.
ponies.
Oh,
or
yeah. On shack.
Or let
not
the
shack,
kids sit there and drive the boat. It is kind of neat.
We had a little
We like it.
7-year-old board the other day that we promoted him as captain.
And
Nice.
just
He drove the boat.
saucer
I'm sure
eyes
you
the
made his
entire
day.
time. Yeah.
It was-
Well, it reminds me of the story with the Sherpa and Everest. You're almost going to be making a connection that kid you're talking about.
Yeah.
Years from now, when he's our age or older, he's going to remember you guys doing that. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
And
And
some
maybe
of our...
he'll have a boat.
I mean, yeah, you never know.
Exactly, you never know.
It's
And,
like,
and some of our first guests, they said, Kelly, what you guys are selling is an experience, not a place to stay. And I was like, you're right, because you can jump in the kayaks and you can go, you can get on the bicycles and bicycle away, or we can go out and go swimming, we can go see the ponies, we can go see the dolphins, we can, and just being on a boat, a lot of times we get people on there that have no like I was a few years ago, have
Right.
no concept. And for some people, they come and they want to learn.
Right.
You know, one of our groups, we just went out, you know, for a little putt-putt, and she wanted to know how to navigate.
Right.
So Dan gets the charts out, and they sit down at the table, and, you know,
Almost
something
like
she never would have known.
Yeah, the
you know?
the bed on the boat at the end of the day, that's almost secondary to everything else that
everything
kind of
else.
goes along with it.
You know, and when people come, you're not coming to watch TV.
Right, yeah.
You're not. You're coming.
You can go stay anywheres and have a place to
Well,
lay your head
yeah,
at night.
exactly.
Yeah, you're coming to go. Now, granted, there's two ways of looking at it. There's some folks that want to come and they want to relax. They want to sit on the back deck and they want to read a book and they want to get up and they want to go to the bunny. That's the little sunning area on the bow.
Right.
Which 4 years ago for me was the pointy end, by the way. So and they want to go there and they want to lounge and hang out, or they want to go up onto the bridge and lounge. Or there's people, and that works well for some. Or there's some people that want to come and they want to swim and they want to kayak and they want to play, and but nobody ever sits in front of the TV. I mean, this is a very active, as much or as little as you want. But it's what I find is that when people come, the boat is the place. We've had quite a few groups that'll come, and I'll go check on them. I like to go check on everybody at least once a day to make sure they're doing all right. I'd be like, how are you doing? And we're like, oh, we're great. And I'll be like, have you guys been into town? No, we don't need to. And I'm like, but there's this beautiful little town in there. And they're like, but it's fun right here.
They're
You
quite
know?
content just being on the boat.
Yeah,
and
they
around.
are. They are. But then, you know, with that said, you know, we do like people to go into town because them going into town supports all the other local businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And so going back to Beaufort being a community, if we draw people, then those people are going to go in town and they're going to shop. You know, or people that are in town shopping are maybe going to see us and they're going to come and stay. You know, so Beaufort really just feeds off of itself. And I think we can all really work together, and I like that.
And then if you can get your guests into town and shopping, they may just start kind of blabbing about the boat.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
true,
Yeah,
Because, I mean,
they do.
in a small town, word of mouth is a big deal. So
Yeah.
if you can get that, I mean, even obviously if it's most of the people probably aren't even from this area, I would imagine. But and, you know, I don't know what the split is, but you know, people who aren't even from this community, they go out into the community, they start talking about it even offhandedly. It's good for you.
Yeah, you know, but but back to Beaufort, something I heard this weekend after the Wooden Boat Building Festival was that event brought a lot of people in town to support all of the local businesses. I mean, all of the local businesses were. So I think Beaufort does a very good job of bringing people in, and then when people get here, it seems like all the businesses get to share a little bit of all the tourists being here. You know, we get business, the stores get business, the ferries get business. I mean, everybody gets a little bit of something in Beaufort with it, and I think it's good.
Yeah, regardless of who may be sponsoring an event or who's directly involved with an event, everyone benefits from it that's in that area. Yeah,
because if you look at like Food and Wine or Pirate Invasion, nobody's really, I mean, and a lot of our friends, and we've helped as well, but a lot of people helping out to make those events happen, and nobody's making any money. It's just good for the community as a whole.
Nobody's making any money off of that event specifically.
Right.
Yeah. They're making their money and getting their kind of their rep up from the general people being there.
I mean, people have said, you know, like Food and Wine, you know, I mean, we went to an event, I think it was like $60, $70, and people are like, well, where's all that money going for? Well, it's just going to pay for
to make the event happen.
And people are like, well, why? I mean, if it's not making any money, why do it? But
it goes right back into Beaufort.
It's going into Beaufort.
Yeah,
you know, because people are coming in. The hotels are doing well. The restaurant, everything else.
Yeah.
So
when we get a new park, when we get things from new parks to new trash cans to new benches to new street lights, that's where all that stuff's going back into.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's just like Big Rock tournament in Moorhead. I mean, that's the Big Rock organization is a nonprofit organization, and I mean, so all of that money, it goes directly into running the event because it's an expensive event, and then obviously the prize for the winner. But really, the main thing is to bring people to it, make Moorhead and make this area a destination for people to come to see this event or to be involved with this event, and then it kind of everything filters out from there into the businesses. So
you guys worded it too good. I can't do that. Now, speaking of events, we talked a little bit about remind me again, it was Hilton Head.
Yeah,
you guys went
RBC
to the
Heritage. Yeah.
Yeah, it was go over that event a little bit. Like how in the world would you go from just docked here in Beaufort to all the way down to Hilton Head and this big PGA
event.
thing? Was it like just sheer luck, or did you guys know the right people, or?
Well, it's somewhat. I'm somewhat a little embarrassed by this, but I'll be honest.
My last name is Midget, and I'm a ginger
named Opie.
Opie.
Okay. So someone had brought to our attention last year about maybe being a charter vessel down for the PGA Tour, the RBC Heritage in Hilton Head. And time was going on and nothing was happening. And so Dan and I are sitting at a bar one night, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just advertise it. And so we're sitting in the bar with our cell phone, and the only thing we have is like one picture of the boat. And so we throw it up on Craigslist. One picture, and I write one lousy sentence. And I'm like, nobody's ever going to bite on this, and I'll just go back and I'll edit it later, which I'm very much into detail, so I like my stuff to be just so.
Right.
And so I couldn't believe I didn't go back and edit it. I totally forgot all about it.
Yeah, but you're also the type to just jump in head first.
Yeah, I know. So I totally forgot all about it. And so here we are. It's the beginning of charter season, and our air conditioning and heater unit just totally crapped out. And so we need a brand new one, and that's at a pretty price tag on it. And so we're both sulking as we're getting ready for our guests, which we're hoping that it stays warm enough and they don't need AC, they don't need heat, and that we're hoping it doesn't get so hot that they don't need air. And we're like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? And the phone rings, and I'm like, oh,
Craigslist to call
in. And this guy calls up, and he's like, I just saw your listing on Craigslist. I'm down here in South Carolina. Tell me where to send the money. And I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
I'm like, we just solved our air conditioning problem, you know? And so I got off the phone and said to him, I said, you want to go to Hilton Head? And I said, you remember that really lousy Craigslist ad we put up? The one I never finished? The one I never edited? The one I'm very embarrassed about? And he's like, oh.
Just bought us a new AC.
Yeah, he just bought us a new air conditioning unit. And
that's great, though.
Yeah, so.
And you can't plan for things to work out that well.
That was just, it was, again, I was done with the whole boat, you know. The guy just told me we needed a $15,000 air conditioning unit, and within an hour, we got that phone call from Jack saying, where does send the money to?
Yeah, he calls me up and he's like, I'm interested, I want the boat, where do I send the money? And I'm like, here's my address. You know, I mean, how do things, I mean, we literally were just like about to throw the towel in, you know? I mean, because it was, at some point you have to ask yourself, when does it stop? I mean, the $15,000 air conditioning unit, that's only one thing.
Yeah.
You know? And we get kicks in the gut like that every now and again. And so we were like, we felt like we were at a crossroads. Do we continue with season 2 or not? And so when we got that phone call, I was like, problem solved.
Yeah. And how far in advance was he booking at that point?
I want to say 6 weeks.
Probably, yeah.
6 weeks.
Right.
And so then at that point, we're like looking at each other going, and at the same time that our AC craps out, our hot water heater craps out.
Right.
Yeah.
And that, again, that's not a couple $100 hot water heater from Lowe's. You know, that's like a special thing.
It's a whole ordeal and process.
Then the boat's built around that unit, and so we've got, you know, a hot water heater that's 3 feet wide and a door that's 2 feet wide. And
of course.
you know, I mean, and then we got all these, and then of course, you know, since we are going down there, and this is a big opportunity for us because it's the PGA Tour, and, you know, for lack of a better term, there's going to be some heavy hitters on board. We want to be looking our best. Yeah. You know, so I did a lot of little extra things, clear from door catches to doorknobs to just, you name it, little things that when a guest is laying there at night and they're looking at the boat and they see these things, they observe them. And he's going through every single system on the boat, trying to make sure all the systems work. I'm trying to make it pretty all the meanwhile still trying to take bookings that are coming in.
It's almost like it's a saving grace, but at the same time, it had to be nerve-wracking because it was a little, no offense to anybody else, but it's a little more nerve-wracking than your average pay tour.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing is, I haven't taken that boat for a long trip for a couple of years, so we have to get all, we had a group of guests leave Saturday morning. We had to be there
Monday.
The Monday.
Oh, man.
And we got lucky with the weather.
We did, and so we went outside, and what was it, 36 hours later, we were there.
Yeah,
wow.
So, Kelly and I left Saturday at 4 o'clock. We got to Charleston 4 o'clock the next day, and then we were there Monday night.
And how long were you guys there? Was it the whole week? Or?
A week.
Well, I assume, I know I've seen some pictures. I assume it went well.
I tell you what, Jack couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
I mean, Jack.
He sounds like a character.
We love Jack. Jack's fabulous, and Jack just couldn't have been better. And we had some PGA golfers on board. We had an actor on board, so I got my celebrity pick with Tom Berenger. So
awesome.
That was fun, and it was good for us because it's helping us grow and maybe get us into another zone. Right now there isn't anything that we won't do as long as we stay. We've got to stay in the confines of passenger restrictions.
You can't be in Hawaii in a week or something.
Right.
Right.
And keeping the powers to be around here happy, but we try to do a little bit of everything. If you've got an idea, call me up and see if we can do it. And we try to, because we're still trying to find our niche.
Right.
Is our niche doing big events up and down the coast? Is our niche here in Beaufort?
Right.
Is where should we really be? Beaufort's working. Beaufort's working really well.
I could say it seems like with what you do have going, as loose as all those descriptions sound, like it sounds like you're doing something right, obviously.
Yeah, I think so, because and here's the cool thing about it being a boat too is our home base and our home business can be here in Beaufort, but if we get an event like that where we need to run we're a boat, we can move. If we need to run to Baltimore for the IndyCar race, we can. If we need to run to South Carolina for the golf tour, we can.
You're able to.
So
that's an advantage. Like you go to stay on vacation any one particular place and you just fall in love with the place, you can't always take it somewhere else with you on another trip. Or with you guys, it's like Hilton Head. All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that couldn't have gone better. That was really a good.
It's almost like your niche is not having any kind of niche.
Yeah.
I know.
Kind of bounce around.
You're so open to everything.
Yeah, maybe the niche is not having a niche.
But I mean, that had to be nice too. Is just getting the word out to, like as you said, the heavy hitters, so to speak. That can never, I would imagine, hurt.
That never hurts. But you know what's cool though is being able to, going back to the little boy that was captain of the boat for the day. It's nice to be able to come back and do something like that.
Right.
To have the family on board for, the first one that we did this year. This was a bucket list item. This gal turned 75, and her dream's always to be on a yacht.
Right.
She says she's been coming to Beaufort for years, and she says she's just never got the guts up to go down the docks and ask somebody with one of these big yachts, can I come on board? And so her daughter and I have been working on this for 6 months, and the plan was for us to be at the town docks and for her to see us and strike up a conversation, and so we did. And that probably, they're also gratifying, they are, but so far this year that one was really special because when she come on board and she's like just hysterical because she's 75 and she's meeting her bucket list item of being on one of these big boats, and she comes on board and she's just so excited and she thinks she's going to get a tour for 5 minutes and then off she goes, and then she sees flowers sitting there
Meanwhile,
and then she sees the flowers with her name on them and then it just builds. It's from you're getting a tour to you're staying overnight, and so she was really excited. So I like that kind of stuff.
And I mentioned the little boy earlier, but I mean that even at 75, like she's going to carry that, and she's been waiting on that for 75 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're directly affecting these people's lives and their memories, and
that's the fun part.
So if somebody did have this on your bucket list, how do they book you? How do they get to this? I know y'all have a website, it's EverestYachtCharters.com, correct?
Yeah.
So go from there.
Yeah, go from there.
And then how, in general, I mean, are y'all booked out a certain amount, or how does that usually work for y'all? I mean, obviously you have seasons.
Yeah, we left the calendar open year round last year just out of curiosity to see what would happen with the wintertime, and we did have some requests for wintertime dates, but to be honest, I don't think we're going to do that this year because the boat's really not going to be that fun of a place in the winter.
Sure.
It's not it's really something that you want the doors open and to be outside on.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to narrow the seasons to like the businesses do in town, from Easter to Labor Day.
Yeah.
And in doing that also allows us to haul out in the winter and do the very much needed work that we need to do out of the water.
Well, and it talks about, the winter, it wouldn't really be that exciting because, like you said, the being able to just kind of stay on the boat, that's not really the main part of it. I mean, the main part is the whole experience, and you don't really get a lot of the aspects of that experience in the wintertime. You're not going to go kayaking. You're not going to go swimming.
And one of my jobs, I feel, is when you call me, is to make sure you're a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to.
Somebody wants to have that winter thing, then that might be a different scenario.
Yeah.
But the best stay and enjoyment they're going to get out of staying with you guys is going to be in normal weather.
I don't want you to come and think that you're going to spend your New Year's Eve and it's going to be an absolute blast. It's going to be freezing cold. The water's going to be cold. It looks kind of crummy outside. I want you to have fun.
Yeah.
If you're going to spend the money, I want you to have fun. And I feel like that's part of my responsibility when you call, is to see if you're going to be a good fit and to let you know what we have and what you can do. So when you go to everestyachtcharters.com, my phone number is on there, my contact info is on there. There's a whole bunch of information on there that should answer a lot of questions. But again, going back to that, if you see something on there that you want to know if we'll do, just call me up and ask.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pictures on there too, and you can really see how much.
You can see the space.
Yeah, you can see how much work you've done to it. You can see how everything is laid out, and I think, that's good. When you say, trying to make sure everyone's a good fit for it, it's not like you're, trying to be selective with your guests, but it's just like you want to make sure people are getting their money's worth out of what they're paying for it, and you want to make sure they're actually going to have a good time.
I can appreciate
that
in consideration too, because there's so many folks that would just be about the almighty dollar, and it's like, get them down here and get their money, but you guys are
and
have everybody's best interest in mind.
Yeah, and we don't feel good about the situation. If people come and don't have a good time, we don't really get.
You take that to heart, as well.
It doesn't. That doesn't help you at all.
It doesn't. I mean,
I get no gratitude of having their money in the bank if they had a miserable time.
Yeah,
we need it. We have bills to pay, but
you have a certain standard set for yourself, and in your mind that you're not going to let anybody walk away dissatisfied.
We really don't want people to come on board if they're not going to have a good time. It doesn't do either party any good.
Yeah.
So it's we don't feel good about it, and they don't feel good about it. So
we've done 30 groups total, and of the 30, we only had 2 that were a little fussy.
That's a pretty good average.
Yeah, I think that's.
That is a very good average, and I think it was. I don't know. Maybe they were looking for a 5-star hotel, and we're more of an activity,
right?
So
going back to it's not about the bed. It's not about all that thing. All those things are there and they're nice, but that's not the main draw.
No, they got to come. We need people that come with an attitude. They're going to have fun, and we've certainly in the past we've had problems. It is a boat. We that first group this year we didn't have heat, but they said we don't care. They're like, if we get cold, we'll go back to Emerald Isle or something like that. And they stayed on the boat. But so they're looking to have a good time.
Right.
And they're gonna have a good time. They could be in a cabin in the woods without any electricity or water. They're still gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
So the boat is a good platform to have a good time, but there are certain there's a certain group
certain parameters that you have to work within.
But so it's
like the mentality and the attitude has to be there too.
Exactly.
Yeah. And those people were wonderful. I mean, our heat crapped out literally 12 hours before they were supposed to get there. So we were up until 2 o'clock in the morning trying to get the heat to work.
And it didn't bother them a bit once they got there. It
No,
sounds like they had a wonderful time anyway.
And I don't think we charged them. We said you can stay in the boat if you want, and we got some space heaters, and they did stay in the boat.
We got them some space heaters.
But we didn't charge
they were
them.
nice
We just
and
said,
they were warm, and they ended up having such a good time that when she walked away, she stuffed some cash in my pocket. So...
Yeah. It's almost like staying on the boat is kind of a jumping off point for, a vacation or an event or activities.
Fun,
I mean, it's, and I think that's the thing. I mean, who really goes on a vacation where the hotel is like the main draw of the vacation? You know what I mean? You want somewhere to put your bags and somewhere to lay your head down at night. But for the most part, it's where the hotel is and the area around and the things you can do. That's the important part.
Yeah, I mean, you can cook. What better spot than to cook your own dinner up on the bridge and sit up there and to watch the ponies off the stern and the dolphins and that kind of thing. And so that is the spot. And then on top of that, if you want to go out, see what it's like.
It's nice to have the option to go and enjoy, downtown Beaufort, but at the same time, it's a testament to you guys and what you're providing that so many people don't want to do anything off the boat.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got it all right there, too. It's like Levi was saying, most of the time, the most you spend at the hotel, is just to get cleaned up and lay your head at night, and it's everywhere else where they get the complete package with you guys.
And then if you want to move,
yeah,
we can move.
You can't do that with most hotel rooms.
We can if you want to change the scenery for a little bit, just let us know. We fire it up and we go. You know. So that's fun.
Now, are y'all where y'all are in Beaufort? Is that where y'all are docked the majority of the time?
Yep.
When you're in Beaufort, that's where you are.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. So.
And anybody that doesn't know, I guess we'll be sure to mention it's at the end of Front Street, down by the boathouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at the boathouse at Front Street Village.
And although I haven't had the pleasure of being on the boat yet, I've been out there a couple times.
You've seen it.
It looks gorgeous. The area down there. I mean, well,
I'll just tell the boss
the island
that,
across the way.
It's just next time he's gonna come out, that he just needs to bring the whole crew.
Bring everybody.
He just isn't gonna be able to do his job like he needs to do it without the whole crew.
And I don't. I'll come on the day that's on my time too. I don't mind. You guys need some help with something. Need some muscle. I'll call Levi and bring him with me. But I'll come along regardless. That's the plan as of right now, is to stay in Beaufort for quite a while? I mean, you guys said you started with the idea that you were going to, the Caribbean, was it?
Yeah.
I think in the winter, there's a good chance we'll try either Florida or the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
Just give that a go.
Just because the winter market is not here. Yeah, sure.
And it's just...
So kind of see where the water takes you at this point? Pun intended.
Yeah. And,
but I think that there will always be... Beaufort's treated us well with this.
Mm-hmm. Beaufort will be involved in some way.
Beaufort's always going to be involved.
It tends to be one of those places, too, that even no matter how long you leave for, that most people tend to gravitate back.
Yeah. I mean, it's very typical
I'm a perfect example myself.
For the boats to summer here and to winter south. So we could totally get on that path of having our summer operation here and having a winter operation down in the Bahamas. And what's interesting is that I think the clientele is going to go with us, because the people that come here in the summer, and when we mention the idea of maybe going to the Bahamas, they're like, oh, really? Well, we're coming too. So I think that, we'll find...
That's like that advantage we talked about, too, with everybody that travels around. There's a lot of the same circles.
Yeah.
You never know who you're going to bump into in one specific town at any given time. So, I mean, that says a lot, and they're going to know more people in X town in Florida, whatever you end up. So it sounds like... word could get around very quickly.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's
Yeah, and we've had several.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. And we've had several people that have said they want to go south.
As long as everything's going well, it's a good problem to have.
Right.
If anything goes wrong,
then it's just another problem.
Which sometimes it does, because it's a boat.
That word gets around. But no, we've done well.
This episode of Lookout Cookout is brought to you in part by IslandTraders.com, your source for the highest quality name brands and casual fashion.
And not only does Island Traders have amazing retail stores in both Beaufort and Atlantic Beach, but now they also have a super clean and modern online shop that will blow you away.
Shop online to take advantage of web-only specials, a huge selection, and even free shipping with orders of $100 or more. You can't always make it to the beach to shop at Island Traders, but you can always hit the website for some top-quality retail therapy, island style.
So stop by IslandTraders.com and get some great stuff for you and your family. Island Traders, because island time is a state of mind. All right, welcome back, guys. Hope everybody enjoyed that interview with Kelly and Dan. I think they're really interesting people and very different personalities, which made for a interesting interview.
I still can't get over all the Everest stories and the Sherpas, everything that Dan went through.
I mean, that's the thing. Like I think both of us kind of fixated on the whole Everest stories, but he had so many other great stories that he told. Like we just happened to be fixated on that one, but like he's full. I'm sure he told us a small percentage of the stories that he has, but yeah, I mean it was just really interesting. He's an interesting dude.
That guy, man, it's impressive. I'm going to enjoy talking with Dan a lot more in the future. I'm sure we'll see him around town. By the
and I hopefully we can get them back on for another time. They seem like the kind of people that I wouldn't imagine I could wouldn't be surprised if they just jumped into a completely different venture, a couple years from now, just looking for that next adventure kind of thing. So, but that being said, we wish them all the best of luck with Everest Yacht Charters.
Again, as we mentioned before, we'll mention it one more time. Definitely go check them out. EverestYachtCharters.com is their website. I'm sure they've got the links and everything to their social media.
Yep.
You can visit our website. It's thelookoutkookout.com. Again, that's remember the word lookoutcookout.com. We'll have links to everything of theirs on there as well. It's getting to the busier season, so if anybody's listening and is thinking about making a trip down, you're going to want to probably try and check out their website and book with them as soon as you can, because I'm sure they'll be booking up from here on out until the season's over.
If you're looking to book with them, I would say contact them now, because from what I understand, they don't. It's definitely not a problem for them to book pretty far in advance if that's what you would like to do. So go ahead and get your name on the books, get a deposit in, and that way you got it reserved. But yeah, we definitely check out the site thelookoutkookout.com, and we'll have links, show notes there, links to their site, and also links for the recipe for the grilled crab that we did, grilled crab legs. And once again, just thank you everybody for listening. If you have any suggestions for guests, anything like that, just shoot them to us, thelookoutkookout.com. This is a community built show, so we want to continue to be community driven.
Yeah, and as always, we mentioned the website. Don't forget about social media. Get on there, spread the word with your friends, your enemies, your frenemies. Tell everybody. You got to help spread the word for us. Without everybody else getting the word out and preaching the gospel that we preach, we wouldn't be able to do it each episode in and out. So,
and we also wouldn't be able to do this episode without any of our sponsors. We'd like to thank them real quick. Above it all, Zion Consulting Group, Lookout Adventures, and Island Traders. Please, go out and support all of them.
If you're in the area, stop by, say hello to those guys. I know it's getting to the busy season, tends to be a little busier than usual around here in the summer with the tourism season. So whenever you get opportunity, stop by and say hello to any of those guys and just thank them for what they're doing, because without them, we wouldn't be here aggravating all you wonderful listeners.
Definitely. And once again, links to all their sites are going to be up on our website on the episode notes. But I think that about wraps it up for today. What do you think?
I think it's about that time, buddy.
All right, sir. It was good talking to you as always.
As always, my pleasure, my friend.
All right, guys.
Stay safe out there, guys. Thanks.